Hello, dear children. Children, today we are going to learn about the measures to protect the ecosystem. Yesterday we discussed about the impact of industrial practices on the ecosystem. Now I am going to discuss what are the various measures that can be taken to protect the ecosystem. First one is the introduction of eco-friendly technologies. Now, eco-friendly means that usage of such technology which is not affecting the environment adversely. For example, if we are making use of tube wells or some electricity like the canals for irrigation, all right, instead of canal and tube well irrigation, maybe the farmers can we can encourage the farmers to use the waters of the pond. Construction of ponds can be there. Okay, and not only this, the pond water helps in maintaining the underground water level. Then again, the use of chemical fertilizers, which is harming the fertility of soil. So instead of the chemical fertilizers, we can use biofertilizers like manure, which maintain the fertility of the soil as well. Okay, and instead of using low lying land for townships, forestry may be done. Maybe, like for example, if the government has decided to build a township in one area and it is very low lying, okay, so there what we can do is that we can plant little trees so that the soil gets filled up, and then maybe we can build something. So forestry instead of building the townships. Then the second point is disposal of waste. Now this point has got a lot of sub points. Okay, now how to dispose the wastes of a factory or an industry. Okay, disposal refers to different treatments which are given to waste to avoid the environmental damage. Okay, so basically the first one can be segregation of wastes. Segregation uh, means separation or classification. Like you must have seen that the government of India has also adopted this, that there's a green dustbin and there's a blue dustbin. Okay, the green one is for the wet waste and the blue one is for the dry waste. Okay, so this is how they are segregating the wastes. Similarly, for the industries also, segregation of the waste can be done based on whether a waste is a biodegradable one. Okay, biodegradable means that it can be mixed with the soil after some years. Okay, so biodegradable, non biodegradable, and hazardous wastes. So these three categories uh, can be categorized, and the wastes can be classified into the these um, hazardous waste and these categories. Okay, so the basic purpose of segregation or the or classification is, children, that if the waste is classified, then we can move ahead with the treatment of the waste accordingly. So it is very difficult to classify first. So once it is classified, then it can be treated. Okay, then waste management, this all is under the waste management, that how we are managing it. First we are segregating it, then we are, maybe if some waste is biodegradable, then it can be used for dumping or composting. Okay, now dumping is another way of disposal of the wastes. You must have seen that if you go to this sector M in Ashiana. Okay, there is a large site. There's a huge plot which is kept empty, and there are lot many dumpers who come with their full of garbage, and they dump all the garbage in that plot. Okay, so government has made legal Malba dumping sites also. Now dumping means that you are just throwing your waste in an area which is designed or which is allotted for dumping the same. Okay, so this is again land filling. maybe some kind of land is a low lying land, and the government tries to fill the land with all the malba. So dumping it undertakes the dumping practices, thereby disposing of the wastes. Okay. Then one thing more, children, biodegrade this hazardous waste. I would like to tell you that some wastes are radioactive, okay, and even if they are dumped, they remain active. So the treatment of these kind of wastes is different. They are toxics. Toxic means poisonous, okay. Um, then again, composting is a natural process which biodegradable chemical materials are decomposed. So all the biodegradable wastes, they are just buried, and then after a particular time they turn into manure, and this they are buried under the earth, the surface of the earth, and this process is called uh, composting. Compost can be produced from small fraction of waste by either aerobic and non-aerobic. Aerobic means which requires air, and non-aerobic means which doesn't require air. So aerobic and non-aerobic activities can lead to composting. Okay. Now benefits of composting would be that conversion of an organic waste into valuable end products which can be used as manure in land farming. Okay. Then the reduction in space required for landfill. Okay. If for example the government doesn't decide to dump it, okay, so it can be done under the surface of the earth. So no particular or no specific area is required for composting. It can be done under the earth, under the surface of earth. Recycling of organic materials and nutrients back into the soil. So once the manure or once the composting happens, the soil, it regains its fertility. And reduction of the in the use of fertilizers and polluting weed killers for the garden. Okay, so again composting helps in reduction of the pests also, so there is no need to use pesticides after that. So in a way, children, this is a very good activity which helps the people organically. It is eco-friendly technique. Then comes drainage. Drains means drainage, removal of surface or subsurface water from a given area by natural or artificial means is called drainage. A drain means, in Hindi we say nali. So if the government of India has constructed various drains for the treatment of for the, you can say, for the disposal of the rainwater and the dirty water. So the waste management system in industrial areas and towns also include proper drainage system. In these areas, proper drainage system helps to prevent flooding. So if there are proper drains, it will not flood during the monsoons. It also helps to maintain clean, hygienic environment. Okay, and it also helps to collect the wastewater for proper treatment. If the water is dirty, it can be collected and it can be treated for further disposal. Okay. So there are two types of system of drainage. One is the wastewater drainage and one is the stormwater drainage. The wastewater, you must have seen that these days the government is building sewers. Okay, all the drains which carry the human waste and other industrial waste, that's called the wastewater drainage system. Okay, from the drains collected to the toilet, from the drains connected to the toilets, bathrooms and the washrooms, to the treatment plants. So these drains, they are carrying this water to the treatment plants where this water is made toxic free. Okay. Then stormwater drainage consists of underground pipelines that carries the rainwater or the stormwater to rivers, lakes or the wetlands. So if we have a proper drainage system, our ecological balance would be maintained. Okay, the clean water, the rainwater will go in the ponds and the lakes automatically through the help of drains, and the wastewater is going to go to the proper treatment plant. Okay, then comes the treatment of effluents. Effluents are, children, the byproducts or the things that are given out by any process. Okay, So there are there are three types of treatment, which is called the primary treatment, the secondary treatment, or you can say yes, the secondary treatment, and the third one is the tertiary treatment. For example, what if some water, or for the steps which are followed for detoxifying the waste. Okay, in the primary discharge, in the primary process, or the primary treatment, sludge or the solid content of the sewage is removed. Okay, once that dirty water which is the drains carrying dirty water which are connected to the toilets and the bathrooms, okay, once that is once that is collected somewhere, then the sludge or the solid waste that can be segregated from the water is put away. So that is the part of primary discharge. Then the secondary one is that the clear effluent which is left after putting off the solid discharges, that is treated, that undergoes aeration. Aeration is a process, and that water is treated, and the liquid phase may be aerated in the daylight or large storage tanks, and they have their own processes of treating water. Okay, and this secondary treatment helps or reduces the toxicity of that toxicity of that effluent to 90%. Okay, then in the last step, that is the tertiary treatment, the liquid is passed through a clear quartz tube. Okay, and it is exposed to ultraviolet light. Now in this way, this liquid which was not fit for even drinking or other activities becomes either, chemically, this treatment, it strips off the phosphates and the nitrate levels, and it can be used to for bathing or irrigating the areas. Okay, so that way, so you can see that these kind of treatments we are following. That day I was watching a video wherein one person was explaining Mr. Modi about how to make the sea water potable. Okay, he had a machine and he converted the salty sea water into drinking water. So that was again a treatment of the water or the sea. So that's a different thing. Then children, abatement of air pollution is also, again these days we are following how to reduce air pollution, and here Government of India also encourages people to use the no pollution certificate, and in their vehicles, and also electronic baghouse filters that are used in the vehicles and the plants and machinery in the industries. Then there is the FGD, that is the flue gas desulfurization, which are capable of controlling the harmful gases. Okay, so they are kind of filters and machines that should be used in order to minimize the air pollution. Okay, you need not go into very detail of it, but yes, you should know how we are taking steps to control the air pollution. Children, today what we studied was more of a scientific outlook of economics. Okay, but still you have to have a knowledge of it. Thank you, and go through your book. Let me know if you have some doubts. Thank you.